What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Lucid. Absolutely epic way to start off the week. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out about the company itself, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 5.26%, a little low for volume. So 18.7 million shares being traded, 30.14 is the average. At the time of doing this video, no SEC filings, no press releases, nothing like that. But there has been some pretty big announcements, starting off with this. So Lucid and Ryiadh Air is going to be having a partnership. Of course, Ryiadh Air isn't going to be kicked off until I believe it's 2025, if I understand that correctly. And we don't really know much about this dealership, if it's just more so for marketing or if there's some kickback for Lucid itself. But once again, I think this does solidify the fact that Lucid is going to be ingrained in Saudi culture, in just the PIF, and just so many good things is going to come from that region. So this is why we invest in Lucid, despite the stock price not always doing what we see as right. As well, oddly enough, so Dean posted this on Twitter, and it says, "You are missing a big news leak picture of a Lucid truck near the Gravity." So when it comes down to this might be something that Peter did kind of allude to during the Q3 earnings. So I just wanted to, before I touch on this in a second, or kind of elaborate on what I feel might be coming, but technically Peter did say this. But I'm excited about the remainder of this year and for 2024. In addition to Gravity and the expansion into a larger and growing market, we have a number of other announcements that I'm excited to share with you in the future. So once again, I think a lot of people just associated this as fluff, or just Peter being Peter, or maybe just talking about the Gravity, but who knows, maybe there might be some big things coming. And I have actually had a couple people comment about the upcoming Gravity launch and how there might be different variations of that. So you never know, maybe there might be some truck component that could be a different variation of the Gravity, or maybe just a completely new vehicle overall. But based on just a lot of, I guess, messiness here and dripping, a lot of people are saying that this is clay, which is typically what they like to test in, right? So who knows, maybe this is just the prototype for the mid-size truck, not the SUV. I don't know, there's a lot of things that is up in the air, but who knows, Rivian is definitely having a lot of success in this sector, or at least with their trucks. So obviously it's rightfully so that other competitors will enter into that field. So once again, that might be something coming down the pipeline fairly soon. Well, I wouldn't say soon, because Lucid is fairly slow at a lot of this kind of transitions and whatnot. So most likely this won't be coming out anytime soon, but they might do a alluding kind of announcement. You never know. So let me know your thoughts on what this potentially might be. Or do you think that this is just a prototype for something that they're thinking about doing? Like, what's your thoughts on all this? But I'll go over some of the data points that you need to know, starting off with the latest round of 13Fs. So during Q3, good old Blackrock did increase their position by 6.69%. So fairly good stuff when it comes down to that. Vanguard hasn't submitted their 13F yet, so most likely that'll be coming in the early part of this week, so either Tuesday or Wednesday. As well, something to note, speaking on Tuesday, good old CPI, like I brought up in yesterday's video, that is one data point to really watch for, on a side note. But I'll go over some additional things, starting off with options. So as it stands right now, just about to head into power hour-ish. So around $1.7 million in puts being purchased versus $949 million in calls. So based on this information, people are anticipating for it to trend down. So despite the news that came out, people just think that is just fluff and maybe not substantial. I'm not really sure. Based on this information, looking at the calls for the volume today shows all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this, people are anticipating for it to stay above $4 by the end of the week, versus looking at puts, people are anticipating for it to be sub $4. So clearly $4 is that pivot point. I'll touch on the technicals and whatnot in a second, but starting off with shorts, I'll give you an overview of what they are doing. So shorts are currently increasing around 1.56 million shares. 28.15% of the free float is being shorted, and 249.46 million shares overall are being shorted. And as it stands, cost to borrow average is 21.02, and through interactive broker short availability does indicate that there is 0 shares available to be shorted. So how I analyze this information, by them increasing on a green day, it does signal that they don't feel that it's justified. So who knows? Let me know your thoughts on that. Clearly what is driving it is this component, not so much this, which is very speculative, but I would say this partnership is what is driving Lucid to go up higher today, even though obviously this whole airline is going to kick off in 2025. So maybe that's why shorts are really hesitant about this information and why the options activity is a little bit more bearish. But keep in mind, when it comes down to options activity, it is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. But before I go over some of the technicals and whatnot, I just wanted to share one recent analyst rating with you that I don't believe I covered in my previous video yesterday. But there was one that came down the pipeline 4 days ago, a hold rating, $6 price target, 𝗪𝗚𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, if I'm saying that right, 43% success rating, and they are with Robert Baird. So let me know your thoughts on that. Oddly enough, analysts seem to really still be optimistic with Lucid somewhat. But of course, I'm sure some retail investors seeing $5 not really so happy about that, because even myself, I have an average higher than that. So who knows? On a side note, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information such as analyst ratings, forecasts, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all of this information to be free. Link in the description below and also the comments. But with that said, let's transition and talk on some technicals. But with it at $3.99, it is currently between this S1 and the pivot. So I wouldn't really consider the S1 right now to be a very strong support. So still the S2, so $3.54 is going to be that very strong support. $4.59 is going to be that next strong resistance. Unless it does close above, like we'll just have to see where it does close today. So it's probably still going to be flirting with this S1 right now. So we'll see if it closes between this S2 and this S1, or this S1 and the pivot. So what's your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below? So far the technicals are looking fairly good, assuming it can close above $3.94. And looking here, number of retail investors are getting in today, so clearly very optimistic about the recent news. Stochastic is at 14, but you do see a nice deviation starting to occur, so black line above the red. So there is obviously a desire for some bullishness today. And like I actually said yesterday in my video, that if Lucid was to come out with something completely random and very positive, you are going to get a rush of value investors getting in. So it is kind of funny how fast that did occur, me saying that they need to come out with some news yesterday, and clearly a partnership and maybe a speculative truck. Maybe. I'm very curious about this truck and what that might mean. I don't know. Who knows? It could be as well just another partnership that we're not really aware of that they might be working on as well. So who knows? A lot of different things coming down the pipeline with Lucid, and this is why we invest in Lucid, even though the stock price doesn't always really correspond with what we believe should be happening. And I say that time and time again. But the fact that, going back over here, I guess the PIF and a lot of the other institutions during Q3 have been increasing their position is a fairly positive thing. But let me know your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo only up until November the 20th. Sign up for an account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, plus you get 1 free share of SoFi. So for $100, you get 6 free stocks, plus any cash that you do have in this account is going to be earning 5.1% APY. So it's a win-win. Like I said, only up until November the 20th. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.